everybody, Destilar here with MMO Play, covering World of Warcraft's Warlords of Draenor patch 6.0.2. This specific patch is going to be one that a lot of people have been looking forward to, mainly because of one of the most exciting changes, which has been the newly retextured, revamped, old vanilla race character art. I mean, look at this orc now. He looks nothing like he used to before. He looks a lot more up to date. You know, of course, WoW was definitely showing its age after several years, and they kept those old models, and a lot of people were just wondering, when are you going to revamp these? It's great though, the way that they revamp these models keeps them a bit faithful to what they looked like before. So it's not a huge change because, you know, not everybody likes change. So they worked really hard to make sure that these new characters, these new vanilla characters, looked similar to what they did like before they revamped them. So let's take a look at the Create a New Character tab and see which one of these races have been updated. So I know for a fact that the Worgens, Goblins, and Pandarans have not been updated because they're the most recently added characters, or excuse me, races. And, you know, there's really no reason for that. Maybe at some other point in the future, who knows. Blood Elves, they're going to be updated. They haven't yet. Might be updated at some point in an incoming patch or during the expansion. The races that have been updated have been Orcs, Undead, Taurens, Trolls, the Draenei, Gnomes, Night Elves, Dwarves, and Humans. I know Humans and Taurens, they needed the most help, honestly. But they're looking really, really, really good right now. All of these new characters, just, you know, no longer will somebody favor something over the other just simply because of how outdated they look. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the changes in game, for example. So let's go ahead and enter the world with this character that I made. We're going to see some of the new stuff that has been added. All right, so first off, one of the things that I noticed was actually in the guild tabs. Whenever you're in a guild, they've actually removed most of the leveling buff passives within a guild. They've also removed the level of a guild as well. So no longer does your guild need to be level 25 to have all the perks. The perks now are still the mass resurrection, the quick mail, and the mobile banking, you know, that sort of thing. That's available from the get-go as soon as you make a guild. So that eliminates the, you know, the gripe that a lot of people had when they had lower level guilds. They couldn't go anywhere because people would favor level 25 guilds. One of the other things that they did to our characters was a stat squish. Up until the most recent expansion, the previous one for Mists, our stats were just out of the park. The stats were bloated. Our damage dealing was just off the charts. The healing was off the charts. So to a lot of people, that seemed confusing when it came down to number crunching, because a lot of people like to do theory crafting. So what Blizzard has done is that they've went ahead and just shrunk the numbers. And I think that's one of the best things ever. So a lot of people can just do the math and not be overwhelmed with just these huge numbers. One of the other things that they've actually added has been the toy box. The toy box collects all of your little trinkets, your toys, essentially. You know, things that you don't like to play around with, like Bones of Transformation or the marmot that you punt. You know, things like that. So that's really, really, really cool. They no longer take your inventory space at all. One of the other tabs that they're going to open up at a certain point, I'm not sure if it's within the next patch or during the expansion, will be the Heirloom Tab. The Heirloom Tab will be a place where all of your heirlooms will be. So you no longer have to keep them in your inventory or in your bank, or or mail them between your characters, and you forget where they are. I always forgot where they were. Now they'll just appear in that tab, and your characters can use them at any point in time that they want. All of your alts, will be able to have all their heirlooms equipped without worrying that this one and that one won't have it while this one is using it. So I think that's really, really cool. Back to the collections tab. What we have is the mounts tab. The mounts tab now actually has what is called summon random favorite mount, where you could just right click on a mount, select set favorite. When you do that, you can put this this spell somewhere down here, and whenever your character, of course my character can do it now because he's on level 11, you just simply click on that button and you're able to get a random one of your favorite mounts. So you no longer have to just put all your favorite mounts everywhere. You can just click that button and there you go. So they're working on making sure that there's not a whole bunch of stuff taken up on screen, be it buttons, be it spells, and things like that. Another change that I noticed was in the group finder. A lot of people were using a mod called, I believe, OQ, and OQ was a way for people to get into RBGs, rated battlegrounds, without having to set it up on, on their server. Make a group, make a guild, go through those steps. A lot of people don't have time for that. So what Blizzard has done is made the pre-made groups for questing and for custom. So for example, you can start a group. You can set up the activity to be questing or whichever one you want, in the different locations, or custom. You can just add whichever description that you want in here, and details as to exactly what you want out of that group. If we head back here, find a group, as you can see, there is a whole lot of people apparently farming frogs. So people are just setting up groups for that. People are setting up groups for that and making sure that they can go ahead and have an established group without having to look out for anybody else. People could just drop in and come out, and that group will stay there. So I think that's a really, really cool feature to have on the game now. Player versus player, I noticed, for PvP, has actually been added to this group finder tab, so you no longer have a separate tab just for PvP. As you can see, Blizzard is trying to consolidate a lot of space, which I think is really, really good. So you have your typical casual one for battlegrounds, war games for your rated battlegrounds, or these specific arenas, and back to the pre-made groups, dungeons and raids. As well, you can go ahead and be able to search for a dungeon, a scenario, or a raid. I did notice that, or someone told me that the older raids like Icecrown Citadel or even Firelands are actually soloable. So I went on my level 90 shaman, my elemental shaman, and I was able to solo ICC with no problem. And I thought that was really, really, really cool. So you can always go back and take part of those old raids, without having to set up a group anymore. But I do believe in order to get the heroic achievements, you do have to set up a specific group for that and toggle that heroic mode for it. At this time, I think that's pretty much it for this specific patch. Thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned when we cover Warlords of Draenor. Take care. Goodbye.